So anything you put on your screen, on your canvas, can be captured as a brush. So I've just taken a brush and drawn some text out here, but I could actually use the type tool. I can use a picture, anything you want. As long as it's visible on the canvas, you can save it as a brush. So to capture it as a brush, you go to Edit, Define Brush Preset, and you can give it a name. So I'll just call this LNHS brush. And so if I switch brush categories now, like do some other projects, I'm going to lose any of my custom brushes. So I want to be able to save them to my network drive and be able to retrieve them later or even share them with somebody else. So I'm going to go through that process of how you do that. So if we go into our preset manager, because we want it to be actually a preset. So our presets are these categories here. So preset manager, and it's going to bring up all of the brushes that are currently active. So you can see here I've got some Tim Tebow brushes, even the LNH one that I did here. So I'm going to grab a couple. So just, if they're not touching, I can use my control key to select them. So I've got a couple different varieties here. So I'm just control clicking the ones that I want to use. I'm going to actually deselect those. And then I'm going to grab my LNHS brush here. And we save them as a set. And we're going to make sure that we know where we are saving these brushes. So you can see here I've got I have a brush category on my H drive. So that's where I'm going to save them. You can make your own brush folder on your H drive or wherever you want to put them. So, and then we give it a name here. So I'm just going to call this sample brushes just for this demo. So it's going to be an ABR file. So sample brushes, and hit save. And then we're done. So if I went through here now, okay, so I can see some of those brushes, but if I switch categories, say I do faux finish brushes, and I click OK, it's going to replace those brushes. Now I do not see my LNHS brush here, so I haven't really lost it. So even if I switch to a different brush here, whoops, actually pick something else, okay? So again, the LNH brush is gone, but you load it by going back to the same menu here and load brushes, and you would navigate to that location, all right? And I called mine sample brushes, so it's here. And now you can see what it did. It appended my list and tacked on the last brushes or that brush group that I saved. So now if I want to, let's just hide that. So any of my brushes that I had already made, I have that brush. Okay, I have this one, which is horrible, but you get the idea. So that's how you, so you do it through this drop-down menu. You can do it, and here is where you actually, and you can save brushes through here. I like to use the preset manager, but notice you will not see your sample brushes here. That requires it to be moved into a specific folder on your C drive, which you don't have access to. So even if you move to a different computer, as long as you've saved the preset group, you can load it. So first thing again, we go to preset, we select the ones we want to do, we save the set, and then when you're done and you want to load them back, you go back to the same menu and you just do load brushes here, and then I can bring them back. So you also, we talked about yesterday about if you reset your brushes, all right, most people, realize, oh, I don't see them here anymore, but that's why we save them. So now, again, if I go to load brushes, I can go in here. So you can see some different categories of brushes that I have, but I can bring back my sample brushes, and they're tacked on to the end. So that's how you save and load brushes in Photoshop.